Hello, everyone. Ready for a ramble? Good, because that's what you're getting. I'm going to be responding to Kizzume Fowler's two videos, A Good But Draconian Way for YouTube to Handle Comment Sections, and the sequel, Google Could Do Much Worse Than That. In these videos, Kizzume proposes that we could make the comment sections a lot nicer if people had to register with Google, because then they wouldn't be as anonymous, and if they left hurtful comments, then those could actually be tracked back to them versus the anonymity that we have right now. And there were a few points that I had feelings about in his videos. I didn't down thumb them, but first of all, in the second video, we all just learned that 2,252 YouTube users, as of the video that he made, have more than a million subscribers, which means to date, your chances of making it to a million subscribers have been about 1.5 million. So that's awesome. But I had two major thoughts that came out of watching his two videos. One was a technical thing, and just the mechanics behind the things, and one is a principle thing, and I'll get to that at the end of the video. The technical thing is, Kizzume proposed as one of the ways to handle some of the worst trolls, it would be to take an IP address and say somebody kept on switching accounts by logging out and logging back in order to leave comments on someone's video, that they would be banned if their IP address had logged like 3 different accounts trying to comment on the same video. There already exists something like this in Google's technology, and I have hit it myself. And where I first noticed it was years ago when, during a blog TV session, I and many other individuals decided to try to spam as many comments as we could on a certain YouTube user named the Phantom Lion about DC Comics, because he had a bet going that he could go like days without talking about comic books. And so we kept spamming things like Batman Forever was the best Batman movie because Arnold Schwarzenegger, just trolling the fuck out of him. And after a while, I hit a point where every comment that I had put into his comment sections on his videos was getting a CAPTCHA. I had to put in a CAPTCHA in order to leave the comment. And it got to the point where every comment was captured. I was being tested to see if I was a human being. Well, after doing that, I logged out of that account and decided to try a different account that I had access to. And what do you know? The first comment that I placed on that same video, I got a CAPTCHA. In fact, it happened all over the internet. If you leave too many comments, you will get restricted in the amount of comments that you can leave via having to put a CAPTCHA on things. And I have not had to do a CAPTCHA in a long time, because Google's algorithm for how many comments you can leave in a certain period of time grows as they know that you are a real user who is less likely to spam someone. I can leave over a comment a minute and not get forced to do a CAPTCHA. But if you go any faster than that, you will face the wrath of being put in CAPTCHA jail. And that lasts for hours. And every account that you use in trying to get around that, you will still have to hit CAPTCHAs. So they have done something about spam. It's just they only do it for egregious, huge levels of spam. But there are ways to get around that I have learned in my years on the internet, and one of them is using a whitelisted IP. You're talking about banning IPs or like shutting them down if somebody has been shown to be an egregious violator of spam and hurtful comments. But if someone uses a whitelisted IP, say they grab their cell phone and use a cell phone tower by turning their Wi-Fi off, or if they were to go to a college campus and use a whitelisted shared IP, they can get around the ban of, just signing out and signing back in and having to deal with the same consequences, because those whitelisted IPs do not have the shared consequences. If one person on a college campus who's on a widely shared IP network, where one IP address is where all of the comments on YouTube are coming through, if one person keeps spamming their hateful comments, they're not going to get banned because they're on a whitelisted IP. Because if they were to get banned at the IP level, they would hurt the entire college campus. And the same thing goes for cell phone towers, especially in crowded cities. You're not going to get banned if you're using just your cell phone network and not your not your Wi-Fi on your phone. Because those cell phone towers basically use whitelisted and dynamic IPs. So there's difficulties in doing this, and they get even more difficult if you're trying to restrict people based on their IP. When you look into people using Tor networks, they're trying to hide their IP to begin with, and they can shift their IP. There's people who have access to dynamic IPs just at their home level. Most people would want a static, especially if they're hosting a server in their house. But those most cruel offenders can get around this. And what would happen if we placed these sort of IP controls into the world is those worst trolls in the world would all share the ways to get around it. So the only people who couldn't use YouTube at that level that they would be regular average users who don't know much about technology. So yeah, it would maybe make the comment section a little better for your average spammer and your average hate commenter, but if you're going to control at the IP level, the worst offenders will get through, and they will be basically invincible to any kind of IP controls at all, because they'll learn to get around them. The second point that I wanted to talk about, this is more of a principle thing. Kizzume has proposed a way that he even himself has declared draconian, that you could restrict people's comments to only the appropriate things. And part of what he's saying sounds a lot like setting your video to comments by approval only. We already have something like that. But to the point that he has about anonymity being the source of all the hateful comments, anonymity also gives us something else that is very positive, and that is honesty. Okay? People can honestly express themselves sometimes when they couldn't if they were connected to their own person via being registered by their driver's license or having their account verified by their cell phone number. People can express themselves in ways that can bring about the truth as well as hurtful comments. And the amount of truth that comes out of these anonymous avatar-based accounts is, for me, enough on principle to outweigh, the risk of, getting rid of that honesty in favor of, having a nicer comment section. Sometimes the hateful comments that somebody gets from all of these anonymous accounts are deserved. And in those moments, I would like for people to be able to express themselves without fear of someone being able to sue them, by way of having their account connected to their personal information. So in that way, I actually appreciate anonymous accounts that are removed from any retribution, because honesty is important. That's enough ramble for today. Thank you all for listening. Watch Kizzume's videos. I'll leave a link in the description box.